to talk about Apple Intelligence. So Apple's made this promise, this huge thing is coming that's going to change everything across their whole lineup. They've been talking about it for a while, and I think that promise is starting to fade. This was first announced at WWDC 2024. That was nearly 6 months ago, and it's still not completely out yet. The new iPhone's launched in September with exactly 0 Apple Intelligence features, but then some software updates have started to push out, and eventually it's supposed to be finished and in everyone's hands by March 2025. That's a lot of build-up. So what I want to do now is review every single Apple Intelligence feature that's out so far. And then also get into whether the promise that they're actually making is even good in the first place. So first up, writing tools. So all these features, unless otherwise specified, are on iPhone, iPad, and Mac. So no Apple Intelligence features at all on the Vision Pro, their most futuristic platform. That's already kind of fascinating. But the writing tools, you may have heard about these since they're definitely referenced a lot, maybe the most out of any of these. And yes, it's basically generative AI to help adjust what you've already written. So this is easiest to demo on the Mac, but basically you have something you've written, you highlight all of it, and then select one of the writing tools. And actually, this is one of the first weird hiccups, just a strangely repetitive UI. You can access any of the writing tools in one click right here, or hit Show Writing Tools, which again shows the same list of writing tools. Okay, so I suppose there's a world where, you write some message to someone and you just want it to be a little more friendly, or maybe you've typed out a bunch of stuff that needs to be sent in a work email, so you want to get the AI to make it more professional for you. Sure, I guess. So I've run it through various things that I've written, from, whole video scripts to just a bunch of messages, and it works. Technically, I think the friendly mode mostly uses like shorter sentences and lots of exclamation points. And then the professional mode kind of does the opposite. Like it's still pretty terse, but never uses exclamation points. And I think maybe concise is the most useful. Basically, it takes whatever you highlight and makes it maybe 40% shorter. And then you can hit copy or just directly replace it if you trust it. And each of these things takes about 3 or 4 seconds to generate, entirely on device, so it works offline as well. The proofreading is nice because it picks up on extra things like capitalization and proper nouns, if you really need that, on top of the auto punctuation checker. And then summary or make table would be really nice for like really large documents, but it doesn't seem to want to work on some of my huge documents that would be nice to summarize or make into a table. So unfortunately, even as basically a professional writer at this point, I haven't gotten much use out of writing tools at all. So, notification summaries. This one, to me, personally, I've found almost useless. Basically, it does exactly what it sounds like it does. When it's enabled, it summarizes your notifications from each app. So if you get a long message from someone or several notifications in a row from a single app, it will do its best to condense that all into a single message to help you kind of get the gist quickly. So no matter how long or how short the messages are, whether it's just a text or maybe a group chat has absolutely blown up and you missed 100 messages, it's going to try to summarize all that into 1 or 2 lines. The thing is, once I enable it and start using it, it basically seems like the notifications that I'm getting are almost never benefited from being summarized or shortened. Like, I have never gotten 4 text messages that are perfectly summarized into a single one. I'm sure it's possible. There are going to be some instances where it works for people, but it's not just me. I've seen lots of examples online, and there's plenty of memes, too, of Apple's notification summaries doing some sometimes hilarious work, some brutal stuff. So it works, and I guess it's good for a laugh once in a while, but yeah, this is a feature I straight up turned off. Then Genmoji. So, okay, believe it or not, there was some hype for this one. And once again, it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It's letting you generate any emoji using AI. Anything you want. So let's say I'm in messages and I want to react to some message with a very specific emoji that doesn't exist. You would describe an emoji. So you write your text and then hit create a new emoji. Give it about 3 seconds again. And it will use generative AI to create that image for you. That's fun, I guess. And yes, it will sometimes refuse to make what you ask of it if you ask for something like crazy or graphic. Although, it seems to have no problem making a potato with a gun. So, that's an emoji reaction you can send. Sick. It's a very specific use case. There's no doubt some people will have fun with it. I just say I'm not in the target demographic to use this sort of thing all the time. So, again, over my head. Cool, it exists, but that's it. So then Image Playground. is another maybe kind of weird one. This is almost the same tool, but sort of standalone. This is a playground to generate images in a cartoon style of whatever you want. So you open the Playgrounds app, and again, just describe the image you want in text. Anything, really. But before you type anything, there are also a number of these buttons down here, and they're kind of just inspiration suggestions for things or people to include in the image. So yes, you can choose any of the people that your phone recognizes from your Photos app, and that'll be the starting point for the image. And then add some themes or accessories or background or props or whatever on top of it. So here's me with a hard hat on at a disco, and it generates it again in a few seconds on device. Always cartoon style, never photorealistic, and it can give you a few options to choose from. And once you hit done, you can copy and paste that image wherever you want. Google and a few others have this on their devices too, just so sort of a playground to make some artificially generated images. Again, it's some debatable usefulness. Of course, it makes sense that it won't do photorealistic images because that would open up a whole can of worms. But it's even supposed to not do some things that could potentially be offensive. Again, like if you ask it for a gun, it typically refuses. But I found if you add a few more variables, like a chef hat and some fireworks or something, then it will be a little more likely to actually pull through for you. So, yeah, good thing it says it's in beta and may create unexpected results. This is yet another app that they've added to my phone that I predict that I will probably never use again after making this video. So then, priority notifications. So, okay, now, this is one that I think had some promise, or at least I'm in the target demographic for it, because as iPhone and Android user, you start to notice that Apple's weakness has, for a long time, been notification management. Ava's just kind of had a fire hose of notifications coming in all the time. So priority notifications surfaces certain notifications above the rest when you're in a focus mode that reduces notifications. Like this should also work in the Mail app to put AI-identified high-priority messages up at the top, plus some other categories. So if you use the default Mail app, which I don't, but a lot of people do, then this could be helpful, something Gmail's had for many years. And the reduced notifications mode also specifically tries to do a good job of only letting important notifications through, but keeping the rest quiet. So then, the Photos app. Yes, we all hate the new Photos app. Everyone. You do, I do, everyone you know hates it. We're all on the same page. It's terrible. But Apple has added exactly one AI feature to the Photos app. In an age where lots of companies are comfortable adding a ton of AI to their Photos apps, dozens of things, but they decided, all right, yeah, we can do the background object removal thing. We can do that. So basically the same thing as Google's Magic Eraser tool. Let's say you've got a picture with a subject in the front and you just want to remove that annoying thing in the background. You hit the edit button, and then on the right side, you hit the cleanup tool. And a lot of times it will automatically highlight in this sort of rainbow glow the thing that it auto detects that you want to remove. But if it doesn't, you can just tap or circle whatever you want, and it takes a few seconds, and it just gets rid of it and uses generative fill to fill in the background. And of course, some scenes work better than others. It's kind of the same deal as Magic Eraser or Photoshop. Typically, patterns or repeating backgrounds will give you the best results. I'm going to say I actually think this one works better than Google's. It's better at getting a good outline of the photo bomber or the background object in a single gesture, which is nice. It's really smart. So to me, this is also one of the more useful features. Recording summaries. So, okay, this one had promise, but then was kind of confusing to me because when I saw it on the list, I was like, oh, I would have loved this as a student. This is amazing. Just one place where you can record things, transcribe them, and then summarize them and keep them for later. That sounds amazing. But this is not built into the default voice memos app at all. So if you're on a phone call, you can turn on call recording, hit that little button down there. It'll take a second. It'll warn the person that you're on the phone with a little message. This call will be recorded. And then from there, it'll record everything that gets said and transcribe it. And the transcriptions are amazing. It identifies each speaker